Yo, what's going on, everybody? So in today's video, I'm going to be making a weapon tier list specifically for ranked. So I'm sure you guys know if you go to the changelog and you scroll on, as you can see, all of these weapons got balance changes. So the meta has definitely switched up a little bit. I'm going to be making a weapon tier list to tell you guys what weapons you should be using in ranked and which ones you should probably stay away from because they'll probably get you killed. I'll be going in depth on why I think these weapons deserve that certain tier in the ranking. So let's just get right into it. So starting off in this tier list, I will have all 40 weapons right here and they all will be getting ranked. So starting off the tier list at the very bottom will be the smoke bomb. So the smoke bomb received the nerf for whatever reason. I guess that I get that maybe the smoke did last for too long, but at the same time the smoke bomb is already pretty useless. I don't think anyone actually realistically uses this thing to get wins. I think everyone can agree it is by far the worst utility in the game, and just because it received the nerf, it just made it even worse and more useless. So I'm not sure the smoke bomb will ever be good. And this really is just my opinion, but I think the trowel is also in the D tier. It did kind of get nerfed in the update, but it does have good damage. It does swing at people for 50 damage, so if you can get in close, you can kill them. But that's kind of the same thing with every melee. I just don't think in ranked you will ever be using the trowel, especially if the scythe or the katana are available to use. I also think the battle axe is probably a better option in ranked, so I just don't think the trowel is very valuable anymore. So starting up the C tier, I'm going to be putting the gunblade. I think the gunblade is a really fun and casual weapon, but in ranked, people are going to beam you as soon as you show your face. So if you're kind of trying to charge at them with a melee, which happens whenever you have to hit someone with the gunblade and then you have to charge at them with the melee version. So if you're not able to hit a headshot and then melee them and then headshot again and kill them, this gunblade is not going to be for you and it's really not going to work out. Also in the C tier, I'm going to be putting this spray, but keep in mind this did get buffed and reworked. So basically it can now hit through the riot shield and the katana, but we also still have the exo gun. So if you have the exo gun, it's already a way better secondary. But why I'm putting the spray in C tier is just because it is completely useless if you're not hitting someone through the katana or the riot shield. In almost every single game, the katana is banned, and the riot shield isn't really that big of a problem. If you're having a problem with it, just use the exogun. I feel like most people do have it by now. You can also deal with the riot shield by using the Molotov. So I think having a better secondary in the spray is very important in rank. Also in the C tier, I'm putting the energy rifle. So the energy rifle honestly might be in D tier, but I just put it in C tier in case people still like this thing. But this thing is really bad now. They basically completely ruined the damage. It did make it a little bit easier to hit your shots off the bounce, but honestly I can't tell a difference when I use it. They also changed it to where you can deal headshot damage without bouncing the shot. But now that the critical damage is only 25 instead of 60, I feel like this thing is just completely useless. Also in the C tier would be the flare gun. The flare gun got a really big nerf, and honestly it kind of has made it pretty useless, just like the energy rifle. Before the update it was kind of useful, but now the DPS was decreased by a whole 50% and it doesn't burn people as well anymore, and it can still kind of control the areas a bit, but honestly with all the movement in the game, it's super easy to avoid, so that's why the flare gun's in C tier. Also in the C tier would be the handgun. The handgun did get a damage buff and a equip cooldown decrease buff, but they also nerfed how fast you can actually shoot the thing. So I feel like a good thing about the handgun was if you had a fast trigger finger, you're able to shoot the bullets out really quick, but the handgun really isn't that viable when there's so many better options. I'll also be putting the war horn in the C tier. The reason for this is that it's not really that good when you're not playing in a team. I get it if you might think it's good when you're playing in a team, just because of all the usefulness it has, because your whole team gets boosted for those few seconds. But if you're not playing super aggro and you don't have a lot of coordination with your team, the Warhorn can kind of just lead to your death with rushing the enemy team. So if you are a more coordinated team, I think the Warhorn could be a lot better for you, but if you're not, probably stay away from it. And then ending off the C tier, I'm going to be putting the riot shield there as well. So you might be thinking that the riot shield is super annoying to counter, but there is a lot of counters to it. So now you have the spray if you are free to play. The spray costs 5 keys now to counter it. You also still have the exogun, which is an amazing secondary, and it also completely counters the riot shield. You also have all explosives that counter the riot shield, so if you really desperately need to counter the riot shield, you can definitely do so. That's why I think it is C tier. Starting off the B tier will be the trip mine. Trip mine didn't receive any changes in this update, so it's kind of just staying the same as where it was. It is really good for bouncing up in the air, but if you can't hit your shots while you're in the air, then it's kind of bad. And if you're also going against someone who can hit the shots on you when you are in the air, then it's kind of a completely useless thing to use. And also, if the katana is banned, you really have no protection up there, and you can just get easily beamed. So before the update, update, these satchels were definitely S tier, but now I'll be putting them in the B tier. They still are really good for movement, and they do still deal some type of damage, but at 20 damage now, only dealing 60 damage compared to they used to do 150 if you hit all three. It is a huge difference, and it has completely ruined the satchel damage wise, but it is why they said they're moving them to a movement type weapon. Also in the B tier, we're putting the energy pistols. So the energy pistols did get a damage buff, which definitely helps them out a good amount, but I think if you need fast damage, the energy pistol still is not that weapon for you, and I still think there is better secondaries you could use, so that's why it's in the B tier. Also in the B tier will be the shorty. So the shorty did receive some pretty bad nerfs. You now only have 2 clips with it instead of like 16 or something like that. So if you are using it a good amount and you're not just like instantly killing people, it's definitely gonna hurt that you don't have that many clips anymore. But don't get me wrong, the shorty still can be very good, especially if you like free somebody or something like that, because it still does have that 2-shot potential to kill somebody. Also in the B tier will be the chainsaw gun. So the chainsaw gun is just a really good fast mobility type item, and it does do a lot of damage on impact. You could argue the chainsaw's in C tier because I feel like no one uses it anymore, but I think if you're trying to go aggro, I think it's still definitely a good melee to use in rank, just because some of the other melees might be banned, so that's why it's in the B tier. Also in the B tier, I'm just putting the RPG here. Honestly, the RPG could also be in C tier, but I think it is maybe good enough now to be in the B tier because it did get buffed to where you don't need 4 splash damage shots to actually kill somebody. You only need 5 now because it is 50 damage per hit. So I will also be putting the Uzi in B tier. So the Uzi can be a decent option when it comes to the auto shoot weapons. Maybe if your favorite secondary got banned, you can just use the Uzi because the Uzi probably won't be getting banned. And if you're not able to hit your shots with like the revolver or something, and you obviously need the auto shoot, I get that the Uzi might be a good option. The minigun will also be going to B tier. You could argue this thing is A tier, but I think once you get in the higher ranks, the minigun will be pretty useless just because people will know how to counter the minigun. Obviously, most of the time the katana will be banned, so one of the biggest counters is gone for the minigun, but I think good players will know how to play around cover and easily kill you if you're just spamming the minigun. Also, we're putting the flash grenade in B tier. I think the flash grenade can definitely be good, but as you get up into the higher ranks, the good players are gonna know to not stare up into the sky as you throw the flash grenade at them. And you also can't hold it in your hand anymore for a long amount of time because now it does have a certain time you just have to throw it. That's why I think it now deserves the B tier. Also in the B tier, I'll be putting the daggers. The daggers completely lost their movement speed that they had, and that was like one of the most fun things about them. They also got their damage nerfed, so honestly they're not really that viable anymore because you don't go Super Saiyan fast, and they also don't have that OP damage they had that made it feel like it was like a primary weapon. So now it's just a normal secondary, and you can still use it if you want, but there is better options. I'll also be putting the shotgun in the B tier. So the shotgun did get buffed, but at the same time I feel like it still is very easy to avoid with all the movement in the game. Just don't get close to someone running at you with the shotgun and you'll be fine to easily avoid it. Alright, and so starting off the A tier, I'll be putting the grenade launcher here. So the grenade launcher is an amazing movement item, especially if there is a lot of walls in the map that you're playing on. You know, obviously Arena is probably the grenade launcher's best map. You just bounce off the walls and get around the map super quick, catch your enemies off guard and easily kill them. So the grenade launcher also did receive some buffs and nerfs. Also in the A tier would be the fist. The fists are probably one of your best options to use if either the scythe or the katana do get banned inside of rank. The katana is probably banned every match, and the scythe is kind of 50-50 if it gets banned or not. So if those two are banned, the fists are probably one of your best options. Also in the A tier will now be the flamethrower. The flamethrower was super OP for a while, but it finally got nerfed in this update. So they basically just nerfed the damage of the flamethrower, which was all it really needed, and it's a lot harder to kill people now really fast. So it would be in the S tier, but now it's in the A tier, and it still is a decent option, but people are able to get away faster because it doesn't do as much damage. Also in the A tier will be the freeze ray. So specifically in 1v1s, this thing is really good. I would stay away from it in any team modes, but if you're in a 1v1 and you're able to trap somebody with the freeze ray consistently and good, and you have a good weapon to easily kill them when they're out of that freeze, I think the freeze ray is a complete cheat to win rounds. Also in the A tier would be the battle axe. The battle axe is also one of those really good options you can do if the scythe or the katana is banned, just like the fist. It did get a nerf and a buff, but honestly they kind of just even out. In my opinion, I think the battle axe is the better option than the fist if the katana and the scythe are both banned. So also in the A tier would be the grenade. I think the grenade is a great utility for getting that easy 75 damage, holding it in your arm for a little bit and then throwing it to get the short little throw, but then also dealing the 75 damage. Or you can just use it as a good mobility at the start of a game. Either one works. Also in the A tier would be the slingshot. So the slingshot was probably the best weapon in the game before the update, but it did get nerfed like it needed to be, and just because of all the nerfs, I think it's in the A tier. It takes a lot longer to kill people now, but it still is a super spammy weapon, and if you like spammy weapons, then slingshot's for you. Also in the A tier would be the crossbow. So the crossbow got its damage rebuffed. It was at 35, now it's back up to 45. Well, it was originally at 50, but 45 damage is a lot of damage for the crossbow. It still has that crazy critical hit of 75, so you still can two-shot with it, but now that it's back up to that 45 damage area, I think it's really good if you can hit your shots with it. Also in the A tier will be the burst. I know a lot of people do prefer the AR, but I know a lot of the pros use the burst and they think that it is a really good weapon if you can hit your shots, but that's the thing, it is kind of difficult to hit your shots with it. So some people might think it's S tier, but I think the A tier is a good spot for it for everyone. So if you want to get good with the burst, it still is really OP, just like how it used to be back in the day. Also the bow will be going into the A tier. So the bow did get some damage nerfs, but I still think it's really good as now it has a better movement speed and the charges damage now the charge damages have been changed, so it still can hit for that 120 headshot, and then it can also hit for a 30 body shot, so that still is that 2-hit potential with it. It's still really easy to hit your shots with it, and it also still has the double jump. Then ending off the A tier, I'm just putting the knife here. You could argue it's S tier because it can one shot, but I think it is pretty easy to avoid, but just because it has that one shot potential, it will be going into the A tier. So starting off the S tier, we have the sniper. The sniper is arguably the most OP thing in the game, but unfortunately you're probably never going to be able to use it in ranked. It literally gets insta-banned every time because no one's trying to deal with the auto shoot or the aim assist stuff. Even people on PC, no one's trying to fight against it just because of how OP it is. Also in the S tier would be the exogun. I think the exogun is a great secondary, especially if you can hit those critical shots. It does counter the riot shield, and it's just honestly super easy to hit your shots once you get the hang of it. So exogun I think is a great option, and it's not normally banned. Obviously the katana will be in S tier, so unfortunately the katana will also probably be banned most of the matches, but if it's not banned, you should definitely be using it. Like I said, it will probably be banned most of the time. I know I will definitely be banning it, but we all know how the katana works and how OP it actually is. Then following up the katana, we have the scythe. So the scythe doesn't get banned as much as the katana because people like to ban other weapons, so the scythe is kind of just left there sometimes. But people do like to ban the katana and the scythe combo, so there isn't as good of a melee option for the other team to use. But if the scythe isn't banned, I think most people probably will be using it if the katana is banned. In the S tier will be the medkit. So the medkit kind of just has that S tier always kind of potential because you get the quick heal or you can do the long heal. You could argue some people would rather a movement utility instead of the medkit, but I think people are really trying to win these matches now, and they might try to play more safe and just use the medkit to get the easy healing. Also in the S tier, I still got the Molotov. So the Molotov did get nerfed a good bit, but I still think the mechanic of the Molotov is still really good. It has that damage block, and it still has pretty good damage even after the nerf. And also if you throw it right on top of somebody, it's really hard for that opponent to hit their shots when they're in the flames. And of course, staying in the S tier as always will be the revolver. The revolver received no changes in this update, surprisingly. They get a cool key skin though, but I still think the revolver is probably your best secondary you could use, and it's also like never nerfed from what I've seen. It might get nerfed in the higher ranks, but from what I see, people aren't really banning it. So the paintball gun is also going to be in the S tier. So it did get a small damage nerf, but I don't even think that matters because now it has 24 ammo in one clip. You do only get 2 clips now, but I think that is more than enough to kill your opponents now. I think the 16 it had before was a little bit lackluster, but now that it has 24, you can easily kill somebody in one clip with it. Then ending off the S tier and the whole tier list will be the AR. So the AR received no changes, and it is the primary weapon. I think everyone will be using the AR in ranked. If they're not using the AR, they're usually using the burst or the paintball gun because the sniper is always banned. The AR is probably going to be your best option in ranked just because of how good it is. It has that automatic shooting, and it also has the long range, of course. So that is my complete ranked tier list for you guys. Hopefully you guys do agree with me, and if you don't, let me know in the comments of what you think should be higher or lower. Maybe we can have some discussions of certain weapons should actually be ranked. But yeah, thank you guys so much for watching. Hopefully you can get a high rank, and I will see you guys in the next one.